Right. So we're diving into some really interesting stuff today. Um, the psychology behind cold calling.
Yeah,
A lot of people think it's just a numbers game,
right.
but we're here to say it's a lot more than that.
Absolutely.
Getting those high-value B2B meetings, especially when you're dealing with uh, international markets,
Hmm.
it can feel like an uphill battle.
It really can.
But we're going to unpack how understanding that human element
Yes.
can actually make all the difference.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. And I think a lot of people sort of forget that cold calling is really just a conversation at the end of the day.
Totally.
It's about connecting with another human being.
Right, right.
And we've got some really cool insights to help us with this today from Harvard Business School research and even from Dr. Robert Cialdini,
Oh, well,
the godfather of persuasion himself.
Yes, the Godfather. Okay, so let's start with first impressions.
Okay.
I feel like in cold calling, you don't have a lot of time to make a good one.
You really don't?
How much time do we actually have to grab someone's attention?
Well, researchers at Harvard Business School, they found that people thin slice.
Thin slice.
Yeah, basically it means they're making judgments about you incredibly quickly
Okay.
in just 7 to 11 seconds.
What, 7 to 11 seconds? That's like nothing.
Not much, right.
What can you even do in that amount of time?
Well, it's all about those first few moments. They're deciding subconsciously if you're even worth their time.
Okay, so how do we make those seconds count? Like, what should we be doing?
I think the most important thing is just to be clear and confident.
Right.
Speak in a measured tone, clearly state your full name and your company.
Okay.
It seems basic, but you'd be surprised how many people kind of fumble this part.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's like, think of it like a pilot communicating with air traffic control.
Right.
You need to be calm, precise, no room for misinterpretation.
Got it. Like a pilot, be the pilot. Okay, clear and confident check. But how do we actually break through the noise?
Yeah.
Because everyone's busy, right? They've got a million things going on. How do we make them actually listen?
That's where this idea of a pattern interrupt comes in.
A pattern interrupt.
Yeah. Have you ever had those moments where something unexpected happens
Mm-hmm.
and it just like snaps you out of autopilot?
Totally.
That's what we want to do on a cold call.
Okay.
We want to kind of disrupt their routine a little bit and make them actually listen to what we have to say.
I like that. Shake things up a little bit.
Exactly.
So what are some examples of pattern interrupts that we could actually use on a call?
Well, instead of the typical, how are you today?
Right.
Which, let's face it, no one really wants to answer. Try something unexpected like, did I catch you at a good time to briefly mention a specific challenge relevant to their industry?
Ooh, like that.
It's about piquing their curiosity, making them lean in and want to hear more.
Okay, so we're tapping into the relevance detectors, making them realize, oh, this call is actually about something that matters to me.
Precisely. And neuroscience actually tells us that when something is personally relevant,
Yeah,
our brains prioritize it.
interesting.
So if you can connect your call to a specific challenge or opportunity they're facing, you're already way ahead of the game.
You become instantly more interesting.
Absolutely.
But often there's another challenge, isn't there?
Oh, there always is.
The gatekeepers,
Right.
the executive assistant who is a pro
Oh, yeah.
at filtering out unwanted calls.
They're good at their jobs.
They are.
Yeah.
So how do we get past them without, being rude or pushy?
Well, this is where Dr. Cialdini's principles of persuasion can really come in handy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So specifically, we want to focus on authority, social proof, reciprocity, and respect.
Okay, break those down for me. How do those actually work in this context?
Sure. So let's start with authority, right? That could be something as simple as name-dropping a well-respected industry leader who uses your product or service.
Oh, okay, so like, hey, you know that person you admire. Well, they trust us.
Exactly. It's a subtle way of borrowing their credibility.
Okay, makes sense.
And then there's social proof, which is kind of similar. You
Right.
could casually mention, some impressive results that you've achieved for other companies in their sector.
Right. Yeah.
And it creates that sense of, well, if it worked for them, maybe it could work for us too.
Okay, and what about reciprocity? What would that look like?
Reciprocity is all about giving something of value to the gatekeeper,
Okay.
even if it's just a a little piece of information.
Right.
It shows that you're not just there to take up their time, but you're willing to give something back. Maybe you share an industry insight or offer to send them a helpful resource.
Right. So building that goodwill.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, and then respect. I feel like that one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. It seems simple, right? Don't be rude. Don't be pushy.
Right. Treat them like a human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it actually goes a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah. It's about really acknowledging their role and understanding that they're just doing their job.
Right.
So instead of trying to circumvent them, try collaborating with them.
Okay, I like that. So what would that sound like in practice? Like, what could we say?
So instead of saying, "Can I speak to executive's name, please?"
Which can sound a little demanding.
Right. It can put them on the defensive.
Yeah.
Try something like, "I understand you're protecting their calendar, and I respect that. Would you be willing to share with me what might make this relevant to their current priorities?"
Ooh, okay. So we're acknowledging their role
Exactly.
and showing that we've actually thought about this.
Yeah, you're inviting them to be part of the solution, not an obstacle to overcome.
I love that.
And by being respectful and offering clear value, you significantly increase your chances of getting through.
That is some fantastic advice. I'm already rethinking how I approach those gatekeepers.
Good.
It's not just what we say, but how we say it.
Right.
And making that connection from the beginning. It's all about that human element, isn't it?
It really is.
So cold calling doesn't have to be cold.
No, not at all.
You know, if you come at it with empathy and you show some understanding,
Yeah,
you can really turn those initial seconds into a genuine conversation.
absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love that.
Shifting from a transactional mindset to a relational one.
That's a great way to put it. All right, so we've gotten past the gatekeepers. We've used our Cialdini magic. We've got respect. And now we're actually talking to the decision maker.
Right. The moment of truth.
Yeah, it feels like the pressure is on, you know?
It is. It is. But I think it's important to remember that we want to avoid any kind of like manipulative tactics.
Right, right.
You know, we want to do this ethically.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
But are there things we can do, you know, that are still within those bounds?
Yeah.
That can help us
Boost those chances.
yeah, boost those chances of getting that meeting.
For sure. And there's some really interesting research on this
Okay.
that I think you'll find fascinating.
Wait, on they?
The International Journal of Sales Transformation.
Okay.
They found that there are 3 key psychological triggers that can significantly increase those meeting acceptance rates.
I'm all ears.
All right, so we've got scarcity,
Okay.
loss aversion,
Uh-huh.
and cognitive ease.
All right. I feel like I've heard of scarcity before.
Yeah.
Is that like that limited time offer kind of thing?
It's similar, but with a bit of a subtle twist.
Okay.
So instead of focusing on like a deadline, right?
Right.
We actually emphasize the limited availability of your time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like
Yeah.
you might say something like, I've only got a couple of slots open next week to discuss this further. Would either Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning work for you?
Oh, I like that. So we're not pressuring them,
Right.
but we're kind of highlighting that, hey, my time is valuable.
Exactly.
I'm a busy person.
Yeah.
So,
And it comes across as less pushy too,
yeah,
which is what we want.
definitely. Okay, what about loss aversion?
Okay, so loss aversion.
What is that?
Basically, people are more motivated to avoid a loss than to gain something of equal value.
Interesting.
Right. So instead of just focusing on, all the great things they'll gain from a meeting, you subtly highlight what they might miss out on if they don't take the meeting.
Okay, so it's a framing thing.
It is. So like instead of saying you'll learn about X,
Right.
you might say you could be missing out on X.
Okay, yeah. Put it in terms of what they stand to lose.
Exactly. And studies have shown this type of messaging
Yeah.
can be up to 25% more effective in motivating action.
Wow. Okay, so that's a big difference.
It really is.
All right, so we've got scarcity, we've got loss aversion,
Right.
and then the last one was cognitive ease.
Yes, cognitive ease. This is all about making it as brainlessly easy as possible for them to say yes to that meeting.
So no hoops to jump through.
Exactly. No hoops.
It's just like, here it is.
Make it clear, make it simple.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, and McKinsey actually, they did some research on this.
Oh.
And they found that when prospects perceive a meeting as both valuable and easy to schedule,
Right.
their acceptance rates jump by 34%.
Wow, that's huge. Okay, so those 3 things together. Scarcity, loss aversion,
Yep.
and then making it super simple.
Cognitive ease.
Cognitive ease, yes.
That's the trifecta.
It's amazing how just understanding a little bit of psychology can make such a difference.
It really is.
Okay, but all of this has been talking about, just in general.
Right.
But what happens when we're calling people in different countries?
Ah, yes, that is a great question.
Is it all the same?
It's not.
Or do we need to, switch things up?
We do. And that brings us to one of the most crucial aspects of successful cold calling,
Okay.
especially internationally, and that's cultural intelligence.
Cultural intelligence.
Okay. What works in one country might completely fall flat in another.
Right.
So it's not just about translating your script, it's about translating your whole approach.
Got it. So it's more than just words.
It is.
It's understanding, the whole context.
The whole context, exactly.
Okay. So, for example, what are some of the key differences we might encounter between, let's say, Spain and Northern Europe?
Oh, great examples. Yeah.
Those are two very different cultures.
It's very, very different. So in Spain, relationships are everything.
Okay.
Business is very personal.
Right.
So taking the time to build rapport,
Mm-hmm.
mentioning mutual connections, if you have them,
Okay.
those gestures go a long way.
So instead of just jumping right into business,
Right.
we might want to spend a few minutes,
Yeah,
just chatting, getting to know each other.
absolutely. And, studies have shown
Yeah.
that referencing those mutual connections in Spain can actually increase meeting acceptance rates by 47%.
Wow. So it really does make a difference.
It does. So those initial moments of connection are super important.
Okay. Are there any other cultural nuances for Spain that we should be aware of?
Always use formal titles
Yeah.
until they invite you to be more casual.
Okay.
It shows respect. It shows that you've done your research.
Okay.
And be patient.
Go ahead.
Don't expect decisions to be made quickly. Building that trust takes time.
Got it. So building relationships, being a little bit more relaxed about the pace.
Exactly.
Okay. And how would that compare to, say, Northern Europe?
Northern Europe, very different.
Yeah.
They tend to be much more direct and data-driven.
Okay.
Efficiency is highly valued.
Okay.
So get to the point.
So no small talk, just...
No, not really. No.
Okay. Just the facts, ma'am.
Exactly. Be clear, be concise, articulate that value proposition up front.
Okay.
Focus on data, focus on ROI.
Got it.
Those are the things that will resonate.
So it's almost like speaking two different languages,
It is. It is.
even though we're speaking English in both cases.
Right. But you're speaking the language of relationships in Spain,
Uh-huh.
and you're speaking the language of data in Northern Europe.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it.
And it highlights the importance of not only understanding the cultural context,
Right.
but being adaptable in our communication style.
Being flexible.
Exactly. It's about meeting people where they are
Yeah.
and speaking their language.
I love that, both literally and figuratively.
Yes, exactly.
This is so interesting.
It is. It's fascinating.
There's so much more to cold calling than I think a lot of people realize.
It's way more than just picking up the phone and dialing.
Right. It's a whole art and a science.
It really is.
It's like, communication and persuasion
Absolutely.
all rolled into one.
That's a great way to put it.
So I think as we wrap up our deep dive here into cold calling psychology,
Yeah.
it seems like the main takeaway is that it's not about, being pushy or using some magic script.
Right. It's not about tricks or manipulation.
No, not at all. It's really about,
It's about understanding people.
understanding people.
What motivates them, what makes them tick.
What makes them say yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we've all been on the receiving end of those bad cold calls, right?
Oh, yeah.
The ones that make you cringe.
You just want to hang up immediately.
Exactly.
But when it's done well, when the person on the other end, actually understands your needs, they respect your time,
Yeah.
it can be a really valuable interaction.
Absolutely. It can even be the start of a great business relationship.
Exactly. And this makes me think about something.
Okay.
This whole idea of cultural intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about it in the context of cold calling,
Right.
but it seems like it could apply to so many other areas of our lives too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You interact with all sorts of people every day.
Right. Colleagues, clients.
Friends, family.
Yeah. Everyone's different.
Everyone has their own unique communication style, their own way of processing information.
And their own, cultural background that shapes their perspective.
Exactly. So being more aware of those nuances
Yeah.
can help us communicate so much more effectively.
And build stronger relationships, right?
Exactly. It's like having a secret decoder ring.
I love that. A secret decoder ring for human interaction.
That's what it is. It can really open your eyes to how we all see the world a little differently.
Yeah, and once you start noticing those patterns,
You can't unsee them.
it's true. So I guess what we're saying is next time you're watching a commercial
Yeah.
or you're scrolling through social media or even just having a conversation with someone,
Pay attention.
yeah, pay attention to how these principles are being
Or
used or
misused.
misused, right? It's like a real-world psychology lab.
It really is. You might be surprised at what you discover.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It
I've
has.
learned so much.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us, and everyone listening.
Yes. Thank you.
Keep those relevance detectors firing.
Keep learning, keep exploring.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.